The show at 573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. We get you set on a Tuesday with some thoughts from Eli Drinkwitz today and some interesting ones. We are, how many days away? 11 days away from the Gator Bowl. We are a few more days away than that from the opening of the transfer portal. And as things are going on now, well, Mizzou's trying to build the roster and keep as many people as possible. But there were interesting comments on one particular Mizzou Tiger that Eli Drinkwitz is trying to keep today.
Yeah, and I'm just going to come right out and say it's probably going to be a bummer. If you haven't heard this news or these comments, it's not really news. It's more of a plea by Eli Drinkwitz publicly to say, hey, we need to keep this guy, but we might need some outside help to do it, given the circumstances, which as you dive into those circumstances, Andy, as we will, I'm not blaming anybody. It is what it is. But, man, does it suck if it ends up going the way that it could for this particular player.
So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We'll also talk about the updates Eli Drinkwitz gave on who won't be playing in the Gator Bowl, a few more players that we learned about today. We will ask the injury expert Will Carroll his thoughts on Patrick Mahomes' ACL injury that he got repaired surgically yesterday. But Will Carroll gives his thoughts on what the timeline looks like now for Mahomes at 4:25. What Brian Smith, Mizzou Wrestling, joining us at 5:25. And as always on Tuesday during the NFL season, give us your good, bad, and ugly from Week 15 of the NFL. We'll have ours at 5:05. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. You can also see us live right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports, and on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Eli Drinkwitz today said that Josiah Trotter and Brett Norfleet, linebacker and tight end respectively, went through some procedures that will keep them out of the Gator Bowl coming up next Saturday in Jacksonville as the Tigers take on Virginia. Trotter had picked up an injury to his knee in the Arkansas game. He finished the game, but they went ahead and fixed it, Eli Drinkwitz said today. So he won't play in it, nor will Brett Norfleet have been dealing with injury for a lot of the second half of the season. He undergoes an offseason procedure to miss the bowl game also and get ready for it next year. Drinkwitz also indicated that true freshman defensive end Javion Hilson is expecting to enter the transfer portal once it opens on January 2nd. Was a 4-star recruit out of high school for the most recent recruiting class that played for Eli Drinkwitz this season. That is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 16th day of December, 2025. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. You're shaking your head, Brendan.
I'm shaking my head. There's a lot to get into. The Javion Hilson is not even the player we were teasing to talk about, as we'll get into some of Drink's comments.
Yeah.
But Javion Hilson, of course, friend of the Big Show. I mean, he was
on this show around this time last year after he had committed and signed with Mizzou.
How stupid do we feel now? I mean, it's just one of those things that Andy and I've taken it much further in the past than you in terms of like how much do we still value high school recruiting, and I have gone as far as to say I don't. It just doesn't matter. I don't care about it at all. And you say, well, sometimes I really feel vindicated of just like the specific type of recruiting that happens with high school players where you flip them at the end. I don't care to ever flip another highly touted high school recruit right before the signing day period. I just don't see any value in it because those are the ones that over the course of time you have not gotten your bang for your buck on whatever financial resources you're using to make that flip happen from like an out of state. Like he's from Florida. He didn't have a connection to here. I don't know what the background was, but like these types of things keep happening with like the last minute recruiting wins from the high school ranks. So I'm just kind of over it as a Mizzou fan.
Well, for a lot of the highly ranked guys, you pay more attention to them. And yeah, because the transfer portal is so prevalent, there is more of a chance for them to move around. I just think in this case, like there were two true freshmen that Mizzou had in the defensive end room this year. One of them played a good amount, Dayton Hopkins, towards the end of the season for sure, and Javion Hilson didn't. And so, I mean, clearly there was a pecking order there, and Javion Hilson decided, all right, well, I'll see what the pecking order looks like if I go elsewhere. I get it. Like, it is more frustrating now to be excited about those 4 stars that schools in particular like Mizzou start landing, because you always know that they can leave. But for me, I still like the fact that a guy commits late, I think is actually beneficial. And Eli Drinkwitz has talked about that. He wants to see the senior year and see how they play and actually, okay, is it worth going after him, even if he's got a commitment somewhere else? And if he is, then let's do it. It's just harder to know who is going to contribute right away, I think, for whatever reason. Don't know what it is, but sometimes the stars don't always indicate that. And because there's more urgency with the transfer portal to get things right, you now don't have as much time, you would think, to develop those guys if you got a 4-star that you really like and you want to keep around and ultimately have for years to come.
And having 4 stars isn't a bad thing either, but it's the archetype of, hugely touted top 100 player that you flip at the last minute that I'm sort of, it's not even bad to get those guys. And even the publicity of, like, people remember the commitment more than the decommitment, right? That still happened, that we got to celebrate and say, look at Mizzou, getting recruiting momentum, and like there's like a visceral factor of that happened. But at the same time, I just haven't seen the value in, and I don't know what they were spending on him, or when they've done this in the past, like a William Swinneri or the running back whose name escapes me, that Quan Lacey, it feels like we haven't gotten the bang for the buck. And that's what I thought a year ago inspired production over potential, which was a great mantra that Eli Drinkwitz espoused. And so it's not to say this is still this huge trend where Mizzou's getting just totally duped. I don't think that's the case. I can't get excited about the flips at the last second anymore, because like you said, there's no way to tell if they're going to be able to contribute. It was, in this instance, other true freshmen that were probably lower rated that clearly performed better in practice to be able to get on the playing field. And so it's hard to, maybe a better way to phrase it, but it's hard to do this when a 4 or 5 star is also a raw developmental prospect.
Right.
You can't you can't do that. You can't have both. You know what I mean? You can't be a highly touted, but also you're going to take some time. Let somebody else deal with that, and then grab them in the portal if you want him then. Because my point with this is, whatever they spent on Hilson, you could have spent that on somebody that you maybe used at another position. And you wouldn't have known it at the time, because you go, oh, Dayton Hopkins did more than we thought he would as a true freshman. And so I'm not ripping. It's really nobody's fault. But I think that he learned lessons from that Williams Swinneri class. I think he's learning lessons now based on some of his conversations today with the media about, hey, we've had these, we thought, okay, all we need to do now is maybe 2-year contracts on these kids so that we can have the opportunity to develop them. And now you're still seeing those guys be the ones that are transferring out. So this is not me blaming Drink at all. It's an impossible situation for coaches. Yeah. But I'm just expressing some frustration as a fan. And Drink expressed frustration as a coach today as well, which I thought was very valid in a lot of what he said.
Yeah. And look, there are cases that can work out or cases that can end up like Javion Hilson. There could also be cases that end up like Donovan Olubade. Well, you can still get highly talented guys, and then they play, and we're excited about them. Right?
What were the circumstances about Olubade's recruitment, though? Do you recall?
I can't remember if he had committed somewhere else. I can look and see, but I mean, he was also a guy that I'm sure didn't cost, wasn't cheap to bring in as a freshman, relatively speaking. So I still look at that situation and be like, then you see what he can do, and then
in those guys, then you triple their salary. Like, you do whatever you can to keep him, because it was very evident quickly that Olubade was a dude. And so, like I said, you try to evaluate the talent, and then you actually get your eyes on him in practice every day, and that's going to determine who plays and who doesn't. But it's just that's why I appreciate the production over potential, because there have been quite a few of the ones where It's just the ones that we get most hyped up about because they happened at the last minute and they were unexpected. If I'm misremembering Alubades and it was the same way, then I'll have to eat my words on that. But I feel like
from
a
what
lot
I'm
of times
seeing,
when it's the guys at the end, that's where they, because clearly it was money that gets them to come, right? In those instances, like a Hilson or Nwaneri or Kwan, like it's money that at the last minute we drop. But then when they don't play, they're like, that was a nice bag.
Nwaneri wasn't really last minute. He committed in August and he stuck with it and he signed, and that was good. And in the case of Alubade, I'm seeing only one commit from him. It was Mizzou back in July of 2024, and he stuck with it, made visits and signed on signing day. So like every case is different. Like there is no one size fits all recruiting approach, and there's no one size fits all way to bring a recruit into your system. Every kid prioritizes different things. And so in the case of Alubade, like they felt that he was ready to play earlier, and so they got him out there, and Alubade, I'm sure, is happy with that. And we haven't heard any indication that there'll be anything different. We never know.
Keep him, especially
we never
with
know,
Manning going,
right?
and
it's always uncertain. But
I also feel the red shirt thing. Like I'm not saying this happened with Hilson. Don't care about a guy's red shirt. Like 0.0% do I ever care about anybody in their red shirt in the portal era.
Yeah. Not
to say that he would have stayed had they played him 6 games instead of 3, but I just don't care about preserving anyone's red shirt if they can ball. If they can play, they can play.
If you're using them to actually play a position, I wouldn't want to like burn red shirts on stupid stuff. Like if somebody's helmet comes off and you come out in the game, like I was worried about that a little bit with Matt Zowers. Like because he came in to hand off in the Auburn game when Bo Perbula lost his helmet.
The helmet came off.
So he played a game. And so like, sure, Matt Zowers burned the red shirt anyway because he had to, and that's fine. But like, don't burn it on something stupid where you come in for a play and you do that. But
it would be a bad look. But I still probably wouldn't even care about that as much as you're saying. But I get it. Like that would not be a great example of that. Would be unfortunate if somebody burned one that way. What do you think though? Let's get into the comments from Drink today, because there's a lot that he is as prescient as any coach out there in being willing to tell everybody what's coming in college football and be pretty on the nose about a lot of it, but also be candid and being willing to say it. Like, I really thought he had a lot of good stuff today.
Do you want the 3-minute, 45-second answer, or do you want to save that maybe for just folks who want to listen to it online?
Maybe save the longest part for online, but what can we hit? It's hard to even say what the most important thing was.
That's the thing.
Because there was so much.
Yeah, and like there was a long not necessarily a monologue, but a long response to a question of how does he kind of discuss it with other coaches, all of these changes. Yeah. And he talked a lot about the changes and what needs to stay constant and how it's affecting athletes. We do have the full audio up on our website, ktgr.com, if you want to go and listen to everything that Eli Drinkwitz said today. Why don't we go to the roster building process, though, because Mizzou's in the process of trying to retain as many players as possible. And so here were Eli Drinkwitz's thoughts on that process and how it begins and how you try to go through it now that the portal is a little bit later this year.
We have a lot of guys. We've met with every player. And again, the main goal is to finish this season. I think we still will have guys enter the portal after the bowl game, but they felt like it was important for them to finish the season, which I respect and believe, that's the best for them. We have a lot of guys who've signed contracts who plan on returning and are under 2-year contracts. All of our 2-year contracts have a buyout. And so if guys leave with a 2-year contract, it's, you enter into the portal with a tag on it that says buyout, and the next school is responsible for figuring that out. So we'll see how that all plays out in the future. One of the things I've said quite a bit is what we're being asked to do has never been done before in the history of college football, ever. So there's going to be a lot of mistakes made and be a lot of new ways mapped out moving forward. We have a ton of stability here. We have a ton of really good players who want to play here. So this is a great place to be, and a lot of known quantities in a place that, or in a time when there's a lot of instability.
So two things there. First off, I think he earlier in the answer had seemed to indicate that he didn't say who, but some of the guys that are planning to transfer, some of them were on 2-year contracts. And so like they will go in with the expectation, it would seem, that another school is going to pay that buyout to Mizzou and then pay whatever they're going to be paid at the next school.
I don't know, but I would assume every freshman that said they were transferring, I would bet all of them were on 2-year contracts.
Maybe.
I would doubt that they had any incoming freshmen that weren't after the debacle from the previous year. That was supposed to be the protection. And maybe it is financially. Like, if it works the way it's supposed to, they'll get their money back. But Drink said, supposedly we've got rules. And we really don't know at the end of the day how those rules will be enforced. And he was open about speaking about that fact. The
second thing, and it was kind of towards the end of the answer when Drinkwitz was talking about stability, that kind of told me, like, man, call all you want, Michigan. He's not going. Like, come on. Like, that kind of was my takeaway from it. It's not insider info or anything like that.
I didn't read it that way, but I don't think Michigan's on his mind. And I just, like I said,
I'm sure it isn't. Yeah. But like that part of it of trying to sell that, which is right now very unstable. Drink's got stability here. So he's focused on that and focused on building that type of team. Well, let's get to the player that he did say by name today. In a response to a question that wasn't even specifically about this player or the
to talk
setup
about
there.
It though today. That's what it tells you.
He needed to point it out, and here was Eli Drinkwitz.
You got a tough situation because you got Ahmad Hardy, who is a consensus All-American, but I think Jamal Roberts is as good a back as there is in the country. And how do you beg Jamal to take less to stay here? That's the real reality of it. And we're asking him to commit to a new way and do something different. And but that's a really tough decision. That is not easy. And that's not the only person, so it's a really, really hard deal because when you have a hard cap, it's like I told the team, when an NFL owner doesn't pay, he gets to keep the money. Like, nobody in here is keeping any money. Like, we just have a pot of money and we got to divide it amongst everybody in here to try to create the strongest team possible. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we'll do the best we can. But if anybody in St. Louis has third-party NIL that they'd like to donate or work through to keep Jamal Roberts around, we'd love to talk to you about it because he's a heck of a player, and we'd love nothing more to have him be a Tiger for his career.
It's pretty clear. Like, it was a plea.
That was gross to listen to.
It was a plea.
Yep.
Basically, like. He was specifically in St. Louis, where Jamal Roberts is from, and so he's got the connection there, obviously. I know he's on at least one commercial here locally in town, and so he does have third-party NIL, some of it at least. So, like, there's that, but...
I got to start cold calling businesses, I guess. I don't know what I got to do here.
Like, come on, get on it.
This stinks, man. This stinks, and it's like, well, and let me say this. It doesn't stink if you're Jamal Roberts, because what the NIL era is allowing is a player of his tremendous talent to potentially have more opportunities instead of less, which I think is a good thing in the grand scheme of it, because he deserves that. Still would love that he might make the decision to stay and still have NFL opportunities. You can look at the Ohio State Buckeyes from last year with Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. I think those two could be that at the next level, Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy. But Ahmad Hardy, should have probably won the Doak Walker, but they gave it to the other guy from St. Louis, and is going to be a front runner for the award next year. And if you're Jamal Roberts and you're like, am I sure that I'm going to get the eyeballs from NFL scouts and from everything else, which, by the way, I think he would, because there'll be a lot of NFL scouts watching Mizzou games next year, and Jamal Roberts is on the field for about half the plays. So I do think it's true that he would not have to leave Missouri to go to the NFL and succeed at the next level. But to be able to be an RB1 in a Power 2, which I think he could be in the Big Ten or the SEC, I think he's Kawan Lacey from last year, where Jamal Roberts could be the starting running back on a number of these big time programs next year. And it just stinks that this is where we're at of, there's a limitation to what they can do by position group, and Ahmad Hardy's obviously worth every penny that they'll pay for him. I love Jamal Roberts, and I think Mizzou would suffer for not having him on the team next year, particularly with Marquise Davis also having entered the portal.
Already, yeah.
I hate this one. This is the one that, Josh Manning bummed me out, but I also said, I get it because it's a more run-heavy offense, and he's not the number one. It's probably Olubade, and so I get it. But this is a run-heavy offense that I think both guys could have an opportunity to eat. Can't fault Jamal Roberts for any decision that he might make because I think there will be some opportunity for him out there in the portal. I just hope he stays because that would be another year of experience for those two. Lethal 1-2 punch at the running back spot.
Yeah, because, again, Mizzou at the running back position, they probably need to go in and at least get one more body anyway.
Now you have to.
Yeah.
At least, yes.
Yeah, because and I mean, maybe it comes from the portal. Maybe it comes from high school. Who knows? But you need another body. Like, you need someone to turn to in case you have a year like you had in 2024 where you're down to so many guys down the depth chart. And you have to deal with it. So,
and to be clear, he has not announced any intention to enter the portal as of yet.
Yeah.
But that didn't sound great today. That sounds like
from
you're
Drake,
up against it.
Mostly about what the situation could look like. Because here was Ahmad Hardy today when he was asked if any other schools were calling. Yeah, he asked if any other schools were calling to tell him to hop in the portal.
Nah, not yet. I mean, when I was in the portal, it was, but I think they know I'm a Tiger, so they ain't hit me up.
They ain't hit me up.
That was the best news we got from today, I think.
There you go.
They know I'm a Tiger, so they don't worry about that, which is great. I mean, that's great to hear. Maybe some team will still try, but it doesn't sound like he is wavering in any regard. And why would he? I mean, he's in a great situation with what this offense is going to continue to be. Although Eli Drinkwitz didn't really mince words when talking about what he'll be looking for in the next offensive coordinator. He wants an experienced play caller, so all due respect to Chase Daniel, doesn't sound like it's going to be him.
Yeah, no.
He said, I want somebody who's been through the fires a little bit because first-time play callers in this league, it's not an easy combination, but he wants somebody that can revamp the passing game, which we all have said, but I thought was great to actually hear him say that. And he is very, I'm telling you, man, he is in tune with what they want to do with this hire, and I'm excited to see who they get and how it goes.
Yeah, he had thoughts about that. That was after he joked that they were going to give, John Anderson an interview, the former SportsCenter anchor and now MU professor. And then he said, if that doesn't work, okay, Dave Matter, we'll see.
Dave Matter's getting a shot.
Dave Matter gets a shot. But yeah, he went into some thoughts on the OC and what that could be here. And even joked like, okay, we have a bowl game with Kirby Moore's not going to be here, so who's calling plays? He joked about that and said, well, flip a coin, see if anybody wants to take this play, take the next one. Those were all jokes, obviously, but yeah.
And he did say, though, not really on the OC front, it's not really on the radar today because he has been spending a lot of time in recent days making sure the offense will be ready to win the bowl game without their offensive coordinator. Like he talked about, he's got a list and he's got, he's been, that's a factor
checking
in his
twice.
mind. Yeah, he's not checking it twice, but he's going to be ready for that hire when the time comes. I'm excited to see what they do with it. But he did talk more about it didn't sound like phony in any way. He's focused on trying to win the bowl game and paying respect to the current team and the calendar. He drops little hints about how he feels about it and he doesn't like it, but it is what it is. And he's operating within that and really does seem to value finishing strong, continue to reiterate, doing something here that's never been done before. It would be a 9-win season for the third time in a row. And so it didn't get it to where it would be 10, but still can do 9 and can finish against a team that, was the regular season first place team in their Power 4 conference. So there's a lot of things that I clearly Drink values about putting together their best effort in this bowl game. No, they won't have Trotter. They won't have Norfleet. Like there are things that you're going to be dealing with. But it was interesting where I think a lot of fans have already kind of said, oh, man, I'm thinking about the OC hire. I'm thinking about the portal. He's talking about that consistency, Andy, and that stability because it's how he's coaching his team. He wants that to be the number one. And so if that is how you feel about it, you're going to focus on the bowl game and make sure that that's something you're taking very seriously. And I feel like that's what he's been doing, even as the rest of us are putting together hot boards for the OC. he wanted to make sure the offense was installed for this game before he got too far down that road.
So he's got the workings of one, but probably won't get serious until after Mizzou plays its bowl game. Maybe soon afterwards, we shall see. But
maybe before, but he said this week, like he said, here's all the things we've got to do to install at our practices, and like that's where my focus is.
You could have calls and everything, but probably won't hear the hire until after they're done playing, and then on goes to the portal, and then see what Mizzou can do to try to rebuild their roster for next year. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Again, the full audio from Eli Drinkwitz today and several players, including Ahmad Hardy, Keegan Trost, and Dalen Carnell on our website, ktgr.com, if you want to hear it. In the meantime, we'll hear Will Carroll's thoughts on Patrick Mahomes' ACL tear. Will he be ready for week 1 next season? We'll get Will Carroll's take on that and several other key injuries across the NFL. There are several more to get to. We'll get to all of that next with Will on The Big Show.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. It is getting to be holiday time, and that means slick roads a lot of the time. So make sure that your tires are in tip-top shape. If you need new ones, now's a great time to get some at Lee's Tire Company, because right now they're running a special where you can buy 2 tires and get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands. That's right. Buy 2 tires and get 2 free. That'll save you a ton of money if you need new tires, or you just want to switch them out for the winter time. You can do that too with Lee's Tire Company. They have an excellent service team at all 3 of their locations that can get your car serviced for these winter months. And of course, they are the tire pros in mid-Missouri. I've gotten my new tires from Lee's Tire Company. You should do so too, especially now. Buy 2 tires, get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands at Lee's Tire Company on the Business Loop in Columbia, or University Garage by the MU campus, or their location in Centralia. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint.
He's a 10.
And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose.
But we're going to win.
Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
The one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. We've all heard about Santa's naughty and nice list.
And I know where you're at this year.
So at Billiards, we're doing a naughty burger and a nice burger.
Which is which?
Our nice burger is our famous Billiards burger. Top it with whatever you want. The naughty burger is our roomy with lots of spice.
Santa likes making it hot.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards, home Broadway.
You know, we named Vixen after Mrs. Claus.
Oh, Santa.
From lean dinners to holiday winners, Pork has you covered. Need a quick weeknight meal? Pork chops. Planning the ultimate feast? How about a show-stopping ham or pork loin? And there's nothing easier than ground pork for cozy comfort foods like soups and meatballs. Make this holiday season your most flavorful yet. Visit tastewhatporkcando.com. This message brought to you by Missouri Pig Farmers and the Pork Checkoff.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Sticklin.
And I'm Sarah Sticklin-McDonald of the Sticklin & Sticklin Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Sticklin & Sticklin.
My name is Josh Arnold, and I've been working at Zimmer Communications for over 5 years. When I first started at Zimmer, I was really impressed at all of the resources that they have available to you to succeed. I started at this job right out of college. I think I learned more here my first 3 to 6 months than I did in all of my time in my schooling at college. Working at Zimmer Communications, you really feel like you're part of a team. You don't feel like you're pitted against one another. It's a really fun atmosphere that allows me to excel in my job.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app, as we look to another NFL week. Of course, injuries piling up, and no one knew that more this past weekend than the Kansas City Chiefs. The one big one that everyone always fears each and every week. It finally happened this time. Patrick Mahomes suffering the torn ACL. He did undergo surgery yesterday, according to the team. And here to talk about it with us is the injury expert, Will Carroll, on the KTGR hotline. You can follow him with his newsletter, undertheknife.substack.com, for great baseball insider info when it comes to injuries there and so much more. Well, I mean, this injury, it hasn't necessarily, he's avoided an injury like this since he joined the Chiefs. He's been in and out at times, maybe missing a game or two. Now it's the long-term type of injury that he has to rehab from. I guess it's kind of lucky that it's towards the end of the season, but it does kind of put next year a little bit in question, at least the start of it. How do you kind of view that timeline for Patrick Mahomes, Will?
Yeah, the timing is it's never good, but this could have been worse. ACL surgery is pretty standard. Now, there is a little bit of a complication here, and this makes it a little unusual. Usually see ACL, MCL. His, because of the way he got hit, it also tore the LCL, which is on the outside and keeps the leg from bending out. Well, it obviously did too much. So Dan Cooper, who's the Cowboys team surgeon, don't read too much into that. He's a very good surgeon, and he's obviously going to rehab it back in Texas. So I think that was just convenient and could get on the schedule as quickly as possible. The rehab should be 6 to 9 months. This was a very standard surgery. There's nothing that Cooper does that's unusual. So he's got the best level of care. He's obviously going to have the best level of rehab. He's got a good medical staff when they need him, but they really won't for a while. So Mahomes he'll probably be at the games to support his teammates. I'll be curious to see how it does, but there's no reason to think he won't be back near the beginning of the season. The LCL complication tells me it's a little bit more than the initial reports of just ACL. I mean, obviously it's more, but is there any more damage in there? How does he rehab? He's never gone through a major injury in his career, so we'll have to see how this goes. I expect it's going to be touch and go. If you didn't see him until like week 3 or 4, wouldn't stun me, but there's really no reason that should happen.
And certainly with, obviously that timeline, he'll work through that. And with it being, as we've talked about, the first real long-term rehab process that he's had to go through since joining the Chiefs. He's north of 30 now, Will. I mean, it's not a magic number by any means, but it's also kind of a reminder of like he's closer to maybe the end of his career than the beginning. Maybe it's an interesting question. He's definitely near the midpoint than anything else. But how do you see him managing that in the second half of his career, and also how the Chiefs manage it, certainly with the offensive line? And there were so many injuries there towards the end of the season. You want to try and prevent this from happening again, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I think there's a really good comp here, and that is Tom Brady. Brady had the ACL. He was a little bit north of 30, a little bit older, but he obviously came back from that, continued to play at a high level. Patrick's been running more this season. I don't know if that's a great thing. I don't know if they really want that long term, but you see quarterbacks slow down a little bit. I mean, if you watch Phillip Rivers this week, it's a lot. So I don't think this is going to affect Mahomes a lot. Players come back from ACL injuries all the time. Even guys who are super athletic, like Kyler Murray, come back and he's fine. His next-gen stat numbers are very equivalent to what he was before. So I don't think the age really matters. I mean, these guys aren't old. He's certainly not as old as me. I mean, I remember his dad. So it's one of those things where he's in great shape. He's got the best of care. He's got every advantage here.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR. To another major ACL tear from this past weekend, Micah Parsons for the Packers. He was obviously the big offseason acquisition, being traded to the team right before the start of the year, and has looked great all year, but now the Packers will have to deal without him. What's the situation with Parsons, how different it might be from what Mahomes is dealing with, and how it looks for Parsons coming back next year?
The difference is what Parsons does. And Parsons basically runs in circles, or at least parts of circles. When you think about unless you're one of those really big bull rush guys. And he can, but that's not his game. He's a guy who's a speed rusher who has to have an arc to get around that tackle, to get around the running back or the tight end who's chipping him, and get to the quarterback. So because of that, he's kind of running in a circle all the time. And that puts pressure on the knee, not specifically the ACL. The ACL blew because, it was bad mechanism. But he should be able to come back from this. But it's a little more complicated. You're worried about Patrick Mahomes being stable. You're worried about him being just fast enough to get away from people, make those runs he has to. With Parsons, that's pretty much his whole game. So it will affect him a little bit more. Though, again, I expect anybody with an ACL in the NFL to come back in a normal 6 to 9 month timeline.
We shall see on Parsons' front how that looks for him. Now, also with the Packers, it seemed that they got better news with Christian Watson after he came out of that game last weekend, kind of with the chest and the shoulder when Surtain fell on him, feared that it might be a long-term thing, but it seems it's not going to be. How do you kind of view Christian Watson's situation?
This is going to be pain tolerance as much as anything. If he can get out there and run around and lift his arms and do a little bit of blocking, then he'll be fine. This isn't something that's anything more than, you or I taking a fall. One of the listeners, we've all fallen. It hurts. We feel it for a couple days. Obviously, I doubt many of us have, 200-pound men flying and landing on you accidentally or even on purpose. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal for Watson.
Yeah, Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Will, how did you view Phillip Rivers doing what he did in Seattle at 44 years young? And look, they were competitive in the game. He kept them in it, and they had the lead kind of late with the field goal, but then Seattle got a later field goal. Just how did you kind of view Phillip Rivers going out there and putting the body on the line again?
I think every coach out there, every former player, every dad is like, oh, I could do that. I was honestly kind of hoping Rivers would fall on his face. Just so everybody wouldn't do that. But I was also rooting for him a little bit, old guy doing things. He didn't have a great arm when he was here last time in 2020. He's always had that quirky motion. I think he made adjustments. I think having another week of practice and getting to know people, I think the second half, they adjusted to him. And so coming in this week, they'll have some tape on him. They'll know what he can and what he can't do. The Colts line did a great job despite 2 injuries, and it looks like those 2 might be out again this week. So I think Rivers did a very credible job, and it tells you just how thin everybody is at quarterback. I mean, Brady Cook did a fine job too. So it's rough out there for backup quarterbacks, and we have so many, second and third and fourth string guys playing.
It's been fascinating at that position. And of course, the Commanders have had to deal with that for a lot of the year, and they've gone ahead and decided, Jaden Daniels, you're shut down for the rest of the season. Probably the smart move, but Will, what does that mean for a guy like Jaden Daniels? I mean, coming into the league, you obviously had the concern about how he could hold up, whether his body was going to be able to sustain all of these hits that you take as an NFL quarterback. How does that worry then linger into future years for Daniels?
Yeah, that is the thing. He's not as much, a concern. He's 6'4", 220. The fact that his elbow just hasn't healed up, the fact that he's going to get knocked down again, potentially land on it, make it even worse. I think this really comes down more to where the team is than where he is. He's shown what he can do. We'll have to see. I don't think it's going to really factor in to the evaluation as he comes through. Obviously, you'd like him to not get knocked down as much. So I think this says more about the line than it really does about Jaden Daniels.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Now to the Steelers, who had kind of a troubling situation with TJ Watt last week. Watt has an injection and suffers a collapsed lung shortly afterwards, has surgery, apparently doing much better now. Had to miss, obviously, this last game last night against the Dolphins. But it seems that obviously you hope the best for him as he tries to work back. But Will, was this Is this a similar situation as you read it to what happened to Tyrod Taylor 5 years ago, where he had that happen to him right before a game and he couldn't play?
The answer is yes and no. It was similar in that something came in with Tyrod. They were doing a nerve block and hit the lung. With TJ, it wasn't an injection. It was called dry needling, which, if you think about acupuncture, it's kind of like that, but not. You're going in there, you're hitting these trigger points. There's some science to it. I don't fully understand, but it works. It's common. Lots of people do it. It was a trained practitioner that did it. It just happened to go a little bit deep. It caught the lining. His lung was pierced just enough that it collapsed. They did have to go in. When you say surgery, this is barely surgery. They went in there with a scope. They basically slapped some flex tape on it from the inside to make sure that the hole healed properly. He hasn't had problems since. He was actually considering playing. The worry is in the short term. If your lung collapses, it is more likely to collapse again. He's going to take hits. He's going to fall. So you do worry a little bit about that, but he's got good medical care. It's just one of those unfortunate things that happens more than you think. You called up Tyrod. I was going to do that, but you beat me to it. So I think TJ Watt long-term will be just fine.
That's good to hear. We'll certainly hope the best for him, and certainly the Steelers would want him back as soon as possible, but obviously his health first and foremost. Will, what's new at Under the Knife?
Not much. With the winter meetings over, with it being very slow developing free agent market, we're probably not going to get much between now and Christmas. So I'll do my annual music list, and we'll see what happens out there as some of these Japanese free agents might be the ones that really crack the market open.
That'll be interesting. Something to watch. We'll see how that affects the rest of the market. Great to catch up with Will Carroll again. All those insights that you can get from him about Major League Baseball's off season, and certainly the injuries that will come about once the season starts. You can get all of that from Will Carroll at undertheknife.substack.com. Thanks for coming on the Big Show, Will. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Big Show is on at 443 KTGR and the KTGR app. I mean, kind of a scary situation with TJ Watt there, but good to hear what Will Carroll thought about that, and that it should be fine after a few weeks, it would seem, of taking it easy.
Yeah, frustrating though, I'm sure, for the Steelers, given that they're trying to make their push to be able to make the playoffs and everything. But yeah, from a personal standpoint, it's good to hear that that's probably not going to be a long-term concern, because that sounds like a scary thing, no doubt.
And I guess on the Mahomes stuff, having to repair the LCL does add a bit of a wrinkle to it, but it seems that you still have a target of around time when the first game comes
He's
about.
going to play. I'm just going to tell you right now, he's going to play.
Think he's good.
I do know that that's different than what we initially were told, like just a pure ACL. The fact that the LCL was involved, he'll figure it out. Like I would be surprised if he is not playing in week 1, is still my stance. Yeah.
You would have to think, for the type of athlete he is, that he can come back from those types of injuries sooner than most. So
yeah, that is my premise. Like he's a freak in a good way.
And so we'll see if he can get that done. In the meantime, the Chiefs will just play out the rest of this regular season and try to revamp for 2026. Onto the bus coming up next. Why is this NFL ref trying to talk to Mike McDaniel? Or not Mike McDaniel, not that one yesterday. Mike McDonald of the Seahawks. Got my mics mixed up. We'll get to that next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz of the Mizzou football team said today that linebacker Josiah Trotter and tight end Brett Norfleet will not play in the Gator Bowl next Saturday due to having off-season procedures done for past injuries. And so the Tigers will expect to be without them. Drinkwitz also expects to be without the players that have reportedly had plans to enter the transfer portal. That list includes defensive end Javion Hilson, who was a true freshman this year, former 4-star recruit for the Tigers. And so he will enter the portal after redshirting this season. The Tigers take on Virginia Saturday, December 27th in Jacksonville. It's a 6:30 kickoff. Mizzou Gymnastics made program history. They are ranked number 7 in the preseason poll. That is their highest preseason ranking of the program's history. Tigers finished 3rd in the NCAA championships last year, which was also a program record. And Patrick Mahomes underwent successful ACL surgery yesterday. His timeline will be 6 to 9 months as he recovers from ACL surgery for the Chiefs. ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with Shangri-La Dispensaries. Visit them at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
I'm tracking another warm day for Wednesday. We are chilly in the morning around freezing, but temperatures jump back into the 50s by the afternoon with breezy winds out of the south and a lot of sunshine to enjoy. We will expect a chance for rain. We are expecting a quick round of rain early Thursday morning that could bring up to 1/4 of an inch of rain in eastern Missouri. Rain ends before noon on Thursday and will stay warm into the weekend. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
This holiday season, help those who are food insecure in our community. Join KTGR during the Commerce Bank 1-for-1 Holiday Food Drive, Wednesday, December 17th. Drop off your donations from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Columbia Mall or at Buckeye in Jefferson City off Missouri Boulevard. All the money raised will go toward the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. Help those in need during KTGR's 1-for-1 Holiday Food Drive with Commerce Bank. Find more details on the KTGR app.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. It is important this winter to take care of your trees. Even though they're going to go dormant, they're going to lose their leaves, they're going to look pretty bare, it is still important to take care of them with tree pruning this winter. Eric and his team at Advanced Tree Solutions, they are the tree experts in mid-Missouri, and they know exactly what your trees need. So give them a call, let them inspect your yard, what your trees have going on. They'll identify any safety issues and make sure they give you a fair price so that those can be taken care of, because ultimately they care about your safety. They care about your tree's safety. So be sure to check them out. Go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com and you'll experience the difference when you work with Eric and his team. They're licensed and insured. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton. So go and check them out. Get tree pruning scheduled today at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend.
After splurging on matching family PJs, roughly 150 presents, and one very expensive 15-foot inflatable Santa, you're probably running a little low on Christmas coin. So let Family Pawn help for the holidays. You'll save on gaming consoles, instruments, tools, jewelry, and electronics. Don't see what you're after? Head to one of the many Family Pawn locations where you're bound to find what you need without breaking your holiday budget.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has drink specials and discount happytizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. When winter hits, electrical issues can turn serious fast, at home or at your business. That's why you need a trusted local team that shows up, solves the problem, and stands behind the work. From whole home generators and security systems to everyday service and repairs, Midway Electric has you covered. And now through January, get $500 off a whole home generator installation to keep you powered up no matter the weather. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Crutch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
Brendan, what was this ref saying to Mike McDonald during the Colts-Seahawks game?
Yeah, that was a game, obviously, with Phillip Rivers that went down to the wire. And so Mike McDonald says that during a timeout late, they're trying to figure out the defense. And, they're having to stop the Colts, get the ball back. The way it happened is the Colts kicked a field goal, and then Seattle was able to march down and kick one themselves to win it. But evidently the ref was talking up Mike McDonald, and he kind of said in his press conference that he had to turn to him and say, look, I would be paying more attention to you right now, but I have to get this play call in. And the ref goes, oh, you still call the defense? He's like, yep, yes, I do. And so the ref was just like chatting him up during a very pivotal spot in the game for a team that is trying to win the NFC West. They've got the Rams coming up on Thursday night. But I don't know what could have gone through this official's mind, but it was surreal to hear it explained by Mike McDonald.
It's funny. Sometimes the joke that broadcasters make, it's like they see officials talking to coaches and they're angry at each other. And it's like, I'll bet they're not discussing dinner plans. Well, maybe sometimes they do.
Maybe sometimes. Yeah.
Maybe they are just, chatting each other up. And that was very much not a good time to be talking to Mike McDaniel, just for some small
McDonald.
talk.
You got to get it right, though.
That's
McDonald.
To me, yeah.
That's another one.
Honestly, under the bus of Mike McDaniel, too. That was,
he can go.
He probably was talking too much to the officials himself, the way he was managing the end of that game.
I appreciate that they were trying, but why are you taking a full play clock it's just unfathomable that you would have a delay of game in a situation like that. You would use the whole play clock and to where there was a delay of game late in that. It just doesn't make sense. It was very bizarre. And I love that, that Aikman doesn't mind saying that he thinks it's ridiculous. He was maybe even going a little further than I would, but I get it. It was
bizarre. He's had a few of those games this year. I've noticed
he kind of lets it fly. He does.
From Aikman, letting it all out there. Also, under the bus of Joel Klatt. First of all, don't know why he's qualified to talk about this, but apparently was on a podcast talking about the NCAA tournament and saying, quote, no one wants Cinderellas, end quote, in the NCAA tournament.
He's so the worst. He's the worst.
Now, here's the thing. I'll give him credit for this, for staying consistent, because he's probably upset that James Madison gets a chance at the college football playoff instead of, I don't know, USC or somebody like that. The Klatt will probably stump for, but come on, buddy. That is what the NCAA tournament is about. It's about casting a wide net and letting a bunch of teams have a chance at the exact same goal. And no, not all of them have an equal chance at it, because not all of them have equal talent and equal rosters and everything like that. But you still give them a shot to strive for something. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, I do not agree. And I agree with your take on what qualifies him to even speak on that. Look, and I get it. We speak on stuff all the time, but he is like a national figure. And so when he says something dumb, he goes under the bus on our show. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Under the bus.
That's the punishment, because you don't get any other punishment for saying dumb stuff like that, except, a bus horn.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
Ahmad Hardy is a consensus All-American. He was named to his third different All-American first team today. It was the AFCA FBS coaches today that put him on that list. The AP's already done it. Walter Camp Football Foundation's already done it. That means if you're on three of those lists, you're a consensus All-American. Cody Schrader was that a couple years ago. So now Mizzou has had two running backs in the last 3 years be a consensus first team All-American. Pretty cool stuff.
That is pretty cool stuff, and cool to hear him basically saying, yeah, nobody's really contacting me. I think they know I'm a Tiger. That's good to hear.
Very reassuring. Now just, see if you can keep the tandem going.
Get his running mate back. Yeah. We gotta put him on a bag of chips or something. We gotta figure this one out some way, somehow.
But he's on some sort of type of food packaging. That's
what we need.
You need more.
Whatever he needs to want to stay.
Need more
And it's not even that he would want to leave, but it's just the circumstances surrounding it, that sometimes there are difficult decisions that would have to be made. I get it.
So we'll see what that situation looks like. Also, very sweet, Mizzou Gymnastics, for the first time ever, they're ranked number 7 in the nation in the preseason poll. That's the highest they've ever been in the preseason. Obviously had their best finish ever as a program last year, making the NCAA championship meet and finishing 3rd there. And also moving into Mizzou Arena for most of their meets, which is a pretty cool thing too. An exciting time for Shannon Welker's group. So looking forward to that season starting very soon. And that's they're a national power now. You get ranked in the top 10 in the preseason. That means you are getting preseason hype as a national powerhouse would.
They kind of, they default to you because of the greatness that you have had consistently. I think that's a real thing.
So we'll see what happens for Mizzou Gymnastics this year as they try to build upon last year's finish. All right, the NFL, good, bad, and ugly. We'll give ours from Week 15 at 5:05. We'll have Mizzou wrestling coach Brian Smith joining us at 5:25 to talk about Tiger Style Wrestling's latest outing this past Sunday. And at 5:45, we'll bring you coverage of high school basketball. Hickman girls taking on Lutheran St. Charles. So we'll get out for that at 5:45. But join us here with a call or a text in the meantime on The Big Show.
Tess, what's up?
Oh, the CFO needs me to book a week of travel. I'm days behind on invoices. The plants in the lobby are dying, and now I have to order lunch for 80 with gluten-free options.
Just use Easy Cater.
Easy Cater?
One platform built for workplaces. Tons of great restaurants, any group size, with tools to meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Plus, rewards.
Rewards?
You earn rewards points when you order. Good for discounts or even gift cards for you.
Now that's what's up.
Easy Cater, the easy, rewarding way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from cardholder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at bfa.com/cardfwc26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
In a warm Missouri home, on a cold winter's night, old Ebenezer Scrooge sat trembling with fright, not from the snowdrifts or the wicked cold wind, but a skittery scratching that came from within. Then a spirit appeared. 'Twas the ghost of pests past.
Remember the ants you ignored? Now they're back.
At once the ghost of pests present appeared.
Look, ants in the kitchen and mice drinking your beer.
And then one final shadow, and he was no fun, for this was the ghost of pests yet to come.
Without calling Steve, your fate is quite clear. Roaches ruling Christmas, termites feasting all year.
And with one festive visit, quick, kind, and pest-free, Scrooge's Christmas was saved by Steve and his team.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest Control.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station, KTGR Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi with Thursday's crucial NFC West showdown against the Seahawks looming. The Rams are still hoping receiver Devontae Adams will be able to play at Seattle. Adams, who aggravated his left hamstring injury in the win over Detroit, did not practice today. The teams are tied for the division lead with the Rams owning the tiebreaker. Spurs and Knicks face off in the NBA Cup final tonight, 8 Eastern ESPN Radio. One of the key matchups that could determine the outcome, San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama versus New York's Karl Anthony Towns.
He really is 7'5". So, usually for us, we step into the room at me at 7 foot and you're the biggest, tallest human in the room. And now you got a guy like him who's coming in who makes you have to look up. So, yeah, he's a special talent to be able to be at his size to do what he does on the court is obviously it's generational. And he's a hell of a talent, a hell of a player.
Karl Anthony Towns on the NBA on ESPN Radio. Spurs could bring Wemby off the bench in his second game back after missing a month with a calf strain. Indiana's Kurt Signetti, AP College Football Coach of the Year for a second straight year.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
From Faro,
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush,
Back to the wall. And it's got her.
and Arrowhead,
Touchdown. Kansas City.
to your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
If it were just a Chiefs segment this week, I think the good, the bad, and the ugly would be more like the ugly, the uglier, and the ugliest. But we're going to talk about all the other NFL teams, too, coming up here in just a few minutes. You can let us know what was good, what was bad, and what was ugly from Week 15 in the NFL with a call or a text, 573-875-KTGR. And at 525, we will chat with Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling before we get you to some high school basketball coverage tonight on KTGR. But before we do all that, we got to do this because it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
I think we should come to expect when we have these type of big picture press conferences from Eli Drinkwitz that he's going to say some interesting stuff, and it was no different today. Had a lot of thoughts about the current state of college football now that they're in the state of building the roster amid some brand new rules like, revenue sharing, moved transfer portal, and it included essentially a plea from Eli Drinkwitz to maybe to Jamal Roberts himself or to some businesses in St. Louis where Roberts is from. Hey, maybe some third-party NIL his way so that we can try and keep him because we can't pay him as much in rev share as we did before. That seemed to be the indication from Eli Drinkwitz today. We'll see if those efforts in keeping Jamal Roberts end up working out so that Mizzou can keep its dangerous running back tandem for 2026.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Drinkwitz also said today, as far as Gator Bowl notes, no Josiah Trotter or Brett Norfleet. Both of them have offseason procedures done, so they will miss the bowl game. He also indicated that Javion Hilson is added to the list of players that plan to transfer once the portal opens on January 2nd. And that was a guy that, after he committed to Mizzou and signed on the dotted line, we had him on the show to talk about the excitement that could be building for his recruitment and him joining Mizzou. And now, after a year, Javion Hilson looking for a new place to go. It's just kind of the state of things, though, in college football. It's not Hilson's fault or anything like that. It's just the way that things are set up these days.
Number 3.
So Patrick Mahomes had the surgery yesterday in Dallas to repair the ACL. It seemed to also repair the LCL tear in his left knee as well. Heard Will Carroll's thoughts on that last hour. You can find the podcast on our podcast page on the KTGR app. But it seems that the timeline would put him at a very good chance to be ready for next year's Week 1 game. It just depends on how he attacks the rehab process. And you have to think for an athlete like him, it's going to take less than it usually takes other athletes.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Mizzou Gymnastics ranked number 7 in the preseason gymnastics rankings. That's the highest they've ever been to start out a season. And for good reason. Shannon Welker's group, after finishing 3rd in the nation last year, getting that preseason hype. Their season begins Sunday, January 4th. They host Iowa State at Mizzou Arena, their new primary home this year.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Stop.
The ACC scheduling model now is so out of whack. Not every team will play 9 conference games. That's so weird.
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. For some reason, because they have an odd number of teams, they have 17 teams in the conference.
Good grief.
That means, Brendan, that one school will play 8 league games each season starting in 2027, and kind of the same deal. They're on a rotation, I guess, until 2030, if I'm not mistaken.
So they're going to a 9-game schedule that they're not currently on, And because they have an odd number, that's why this is coming up.
Yeah, like they have to force somebody to only play, force, I guess, to play 8 conference games so that the schedule lines up enough so that they can get it. It's so odd. And like, look, here's my view on the ACC, because Brendan's like poo-pooed them for
a hater.
Like, yeah. And look, I don't blame Brendan for that. I put most of it at the feet of the leadership in that conference, mainly the commissioner, Jim Phillips. And like the schools themselves, I don't really blame too much. The football programs, they operate the same way that everyone else does in Power 4. They've got NIL money. They've got support. They bring in good players, and they play the same game that everybody else does. No, they're not as good as the SEC or the Big 10, or probably not even the Big 12. But like they still have competitive teams that operate the same way. But their conference has absolutely screwed over so many of those programs, if you ask me. It's the leadership.
It's a bad deal.
It's really bad.
And
this is the latest example of it. Like that. By the way, like I went and looked back at Virginia's schedule this year, just as an example. Virginia, they played NC State this year, also an ACC team. It was not a conference game.
Yeah, that was weird.
Like, right. Because the conference expanded,
right,
and they had to redo their scheduling, I guess, matrix. That's a rivalry that's been played since like 1904, and so they didn't want to take it off the schedule, but somehow it got taken off, and so they did, Virginia and NC State just got together and said, "No, let's keep playing it," and they basically scheduled a home-and-home series for this year, and I think they're doing it again for next year before they go to the 9 games, and so like they got that together. Like I don't blame the schools at all for any of this, but the ACC has terrible leadership and just it cannot get out of their own way, especially with the sport of football. So that is where any vitriol that goes toward the ACC, I think, needs to be laid right at the feet of wherever their headquarters is. I don't know, Charlotte or
who even cares?
Like that.
They're way over there. Like, listen, I'm gonna support
on the East Coast.
I'm gonna support bagging on the ACC any chance. So you got to be a little careful, because I'll take it even further.
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't said anything that was incorrect. So
yeah. So I mean, it's just an awful situation. I think that like they could have handled this so much better, but they just needed the cash for literally SMU paying their way into the conference was enough.
Good timing,
right?
Good timing for them,
and it was enough for them to deal with the imbalance in their conference just numerically, so that they could put together a scheduling model like this. It just makes no sense. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you.
I guess that should have been for under the bus, but I'll hawk it late just for posterity.
Under the bus.
Anyway, but I know Brendan was never going to pass up an opportunity to say ill will on that.
They're not a power league. We can stop calling it Power 4. Is how I feel.
I won't go there yet, because again, like it's about the football programs. Like they still operate the same way that everybody else at their level does. They've got good coaches, they've got good players, everything like that. But the people above them are absolutely screwing up their chances to play for anything meaningful, and that's why their champion got left out of the college football playoff. 875-KTGR. If you want to give us a call or a text. Let's get to this then. I mean, ACC, ugly. That's how we kick off the good, bad, and ugly, even though it's the NFL version.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
573-875-KTGR. You can call or text us with what you think was good and bad and downright ugly from this past weekend of NFL football. Also, leave a comment on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. We're also live on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show. So on the Chiefs, like the way they played, once again, just was, I don't know if lifeless is the right word, but it's the closest word to what I want to describe it as. It's not ugly per se, but it's just, I was reserved to the outcome. Kind of knew how it was going to play out.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of hope that when they scored on their opening drive and they go in for a touchdown, like, oh, hey, maybe the over will hit.
No, there wasn't.
No.
I was never worried about my under bet.
Yeah.
Not for a minute.
No, like that was never in danger, really. And then, I mean, just the Chargers are a good team, but the Chiefs teams of past years do not let that type of comeback happen. Like that's just it's so uncharacteristic, and that's the common theme of this year's Chiefs team. Like you can try to say that it was some sort of technical aspect that mattered more than everything else. I just think in the end, the Chiefs had too many games that they gave away. And they thought, we'll make it up later. We can project out, still beat this team. We're better than them. We'll be favored in this game, everything like that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way, especially with how the AFC has kind of flipped on its head this year with some other teams, scraping and clawing to get in the playoffs that we didn't really expect to be in that position. Other teams that have maybe figured things out at the top that we didn't think were going to figure it out so quickly. And now you've got a different landscape. And then now the Chiefs have to use an off season to figure out how they can stay relevant.
Yeah, it's ugly. Like it was the ugly culmination of an ugly season for the Chiefs. So there's really no other way of the three categories all the way around. It was pretty much all year.
And what flexibility do they have to revamp the roster to make sure it doesn't happen again? Shall see. There's some tough decisions that have to be made, but in the end, Chiefs season ugly because we were talking about them clinching mathematically the division around this time last year, and now we're talking about them being mathematically eliminated from all postseason contention.
Yeah,
with 3 games left. Pretty unfathomable, but that's where we are. Who else was ugly? Let's start with the ugly because that was.
Well, I mean, you poked fun a little bit at it, but the Dolphins last night was.
I was so head scratching.
I don't think the Steelers are that good, but they're going to probably win that division. The Ravens can still do it because the Steelers play at the Lions, desperate Lions team this Sunday, so that could draw them closer together. Ravens-Steelers could end up being for the division at the end of the year, but I just don't think the Steelers are that good. And they were, I know the final score, Dolphins put some points on the board. That was a blowout game, just not competitive.
Yeah, it was ugly. I was not interested in watching most of it.
I was. There's always a jurisdiction of legality or reason to watch these games. 2 more yards from Devon Achane, and I would have been your faces. Oh, I was so close. He got a late catch, but I needed 9 yards. He only got me 6. Yeah. Anyway.
That I agree. In the Jets defense ugly because it's man. Come on. Just got the 20 points. Competent NFL teams in that game. Yeah. Defense is in that game. Obviously not.
Yeah, he did throw 3 picks. Brady Cook did, but I didn't think he played bad. I agree. The defense was bad. That cost them. That was the main takeaway.
Yeah. So gets another chance, maybe another chance to get on the field with Sam. I think we have Sam here on the KTTR hotline that wants to weigh in. Sam, you're on with us. What you got? Oh, do we have Sam? We'll see if we can get Sam here in just a little bit. Sam, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
We've got you. What you got for good, bad, ugly?
So bad, as much as I'm happy that the Chiefs are out of the playoffs, bad Mahomes getting hurt. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, especially a superstar like him. So ugly, I would say the Browns putting the Ron script on Shadir Sanders' wrist ahead of the game, and the plays were wrong. The first 2 series of the plays were wrong in the first quarter. So he was calling one. They were calling one type of play, and then he was calling the other in the huddle. So they had, I believe, 7 penalties in the first quarter because of it. So, but
yikes.
The Chicago Bears and Luther Burden.
Yeah, baby. Is he gonna be all right? He didn't practice today.
I think he's day to day.
My sources within the building say that he's going to be. No, I don't know. I hope so. I really.
I wasn't about to doubt your sources, Sam. You can say it if you want.
Yeah, whatever you got, it's fine.
We need him against the Packers, and he's doing some really good. He had a career high this weekend, so he's fun to watch. But Yeah, keep on doing great things, guys. Have a happy holidays.
You too. Appreciate the call, Sam, here on the Big Show, KTGR. Look, man, I don't know if the Bears are the best team even in that division. But don't tell them that. They just keep on taking care of business in games that other good teams in the NFL have sometimes just sort of played with their food on. The Packers lost the Browns, didn't they? They didn't beat that team when they played.
I think that's right. I think that sounds right, possibly. And look, here's the thing of it. The Bears are not locked into the playoffs yet. They're sitting as the 2 seed. They could miss the playoffs. They have their toughest games remaining. Now, maybe the Packers thing at home just got a little easier because of the Micah Parsons injury, and that's ugly anytime you're seeing guys get injured. But they host the Packers, they go to San Francisco, and they host the Lions. Those are all NFC teams fighting for wild card spots potentially. That's a brutal finish. If you're the Bears, I think you just have to win one of them, probably to feel safe. But I don't know for sure that are they going to be favored in any of them?
Well, let's see. Are they favored this weekend? Probably not.
I would think not, but I guess it's at home, so maybe I should give them more credit than that.
Unnamed
I'll look it up.
.com, yeah. I would think probably
underdog.
Underdog
1.5 point. 1.5 point underdog. Yeah. I guarantee you they'll be an underdog at San Francisco.
Yeah.
And it'll depend on where the Lions are, how they're playing leading into that game. It's a home game. I still think the Lions can squeak this out. They're going to beat the Steelers at home this week. And I think the Lions still have the Vikings remaining and then the Bears, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 road games, but doable. That Christmas Day game for the Lions is going to be everything, assuming they beat the Steelers this week.
Well, at least one Christmas Day game will be interesting.
You go to bed early. Go to bed early. After the first 2 games.
Golly. Yeah. Do we call it Vikings have to be in the good, right?
Yeah, man. And I'm kind of wondering if I start JJ McCarthy this week for Houston against the Giants in the playoffs. They played well. And I knew that their defense would, but it was one of those things where you're like, okay, you take advantage of the Cowboys defensively, worst pass defense in the league. McCarthy has been not great, but this is a pure matchup. And he did. I mean, he played very well, 250 passing yards, had the early interception, but 2 touchdowns and spread it around. Addison had 66 yards, Hawkinson 66, Jalen Naylor had a couple of touchdowns. It's weird that they have a good game like that and can't get Justin Jefferson involved, but they tried. Frankly, Justin Jefferson had an ugly game. They won, and so he's all smiles, but he drops everything that hits him in both hands. It's been weird. That was not on JJ McCarthy that JJ Jettas was not able to get his. Catch the ball at a certain point, but they won and they're happy about that. But yeah, I would give the Vikings credit for that win. And, the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs because of their pass defense. It's really the only weakness with their team, to be honest.
I mean, I really like, though, how they're situated, though, for future years.
Dallas?
Yeah, you just got to find maybe a corner or two that he can plug into the room. Maybe, I don't know, trade for Trenton Duffy, and then you're good. Right?
Ooh, I like that.
Right?
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Jerry's got plenty of picks. I mean, he's got picks from the Parsons stuff, and although he did trade some away.
Some to get Quinnen Williams, right?
That's right, the Quinnen Williams thing. That's true.
So
it's an idea. It's an idea. I would consider that if I were both teams.
Never know. Call or text us with your good, bad, and ugly, 573-875-KTGR. Okay. Yes. Broncos in the good.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
I can't believe they won that game.
I really can't either.
Packers were looking pretty good for a while.
I mean, I'll say this. Not converting those couple early chances into touchdowns, end of the first quarter into the second quarter, came back to bite them. Because then they're only up 6-0, and then all it took for the Broncos is 1 touchdown, and then immediately the juice is back in the building, and you have the lead. It just, from that point, I felt like, well, The Broncos just needed that counterpunch, and now they should be good with in their home building. Now, I don't know. Like, I think the 1 seed's going to be very important to them.
They're going to get it, though. They're going to be fine.
Like, this was a major step in getting that. But I just think that if they hadn't gotten it, that they would be maybe up against it for whenever they would have to go on the road to play a team.
Yeah, now that would be a potential path through the playoffs. But they host Jacksonville this week. It's not to say they couldn't lose that, but they're not going to lose to the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs have nothing left.
No.
And so that's going to be a Broncos win all of a sudden. And then if they need to beat the Chargers at home in Week 18, I certainly think they can do that. I'm glad that the Broncos are going to be the 1 seed. That's what I'm rooting for, because I think it makes it a lot easier to place bets on other teams to make the Super Bowl with the better odds. Because I don't think the Broncos are going to make the Super Bowl. Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you right now.
Really?
Yeah, and I've already jurisdictioned of legality myself into that. I feel like it is, Andy, this is going to be such a fun playoffs for me, because I finally don't have to like hedge my bets against Josh Allen, because I like Mahomes and the Chiefs. I really do. But my heart always wants to be rooting for the Bills, and now I can't. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, I don't think the Broncos, like, let's look at the playoff picture. The Broncos, if they're the 1 seed, they'll be playing the lowest seed. I really like the wild card teams in the AFC. Right now would be the Chargers, the Bills, and the Texans.
I mean,
maybe I would take the Broncos to beat the Chargers, but I'm not even convinced of that. I'm taking the Bills, and I'm taking the Texans.
You think the Texans go into Denver and win?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So, yeah,
I think they can. They just gave up 26 points to Green Bay. Green Bay's not this, like, world beater of an offense. I think your Texans could go in and put up 24, win it 24-20, 23-21, something like that. Obviously, that's assuming a first-round upset for Houston as well, though.
They got to go to New England, do that first, and then go to Denver. But if they do that in New England, if they go and do that, then I'll probably believe that they can go and make that happen. I don't know. I think the Texans need the division. I really do think so. It's still within their reach. Like, they could get there. 9-5. Jacksonville's 10-4. They do need some help.
Yeah, I wouldn't take Jacksonville to beat Denver.
They don't
if they switch.
Yeah, they don't play again, the Jaguars and the Texans. The Jags, they need to lose to the Broncos this weekend, I think, for the Texans to really have the shot at it.
The Broncos are motivated, so you're in a good spot there, Houston.
Yeah, so
that could happen.
Like Colts and Titans for the Jaguars to finish out. So that'll be it. And then it's going to go to tiebreakers that I'm not quite sure are in front of me, and I don't know exactly how it goes. But like, the Texans got to win out. It's going to take 12 wins to win that division.
Okay. So, yeah, they're probably on the road, but I think that defense will travel, and they can do enough with – Stroud does not have to be the hero. He just has to be average, and he can get it done.
Every so often he needs to be, though. Because who else on that offense do you trust Woody Marks to carry you? That's the thing, though. That's what I'm talking about.
No, I hear you.
Because they
should have kept Cody Schrader. I'm sorry, but that was their ticket.
That's their mistake.
That was their meal ticket.
Yes, the defense can keep them in any game. The defense kept them in the game technically at Seattle in that very late Monday night game back in Week 7, where they had like 4 takeaways and had a defensive touchdown, but just could not move the football to save their lives. Now, they're different now. They've grown, but I don't know. I saw them do it against the Chiefs, and I'm like, okay, now I'm a lot more in.
You have to buy in. Like, they are.
Now we know the Chiefs are kind of not so great. So is it real? I don't know.
By the way, I think I said Sunday for Bears-Packers. That's a Saturday night game. This football weekend is one of my favorite of the year. When we're getting
games.
You start to get the bowl games mixed in there for college football again. You got the playoff games, obviously, and you've got meaningful NFL games on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be great. But the reason I was looking all that up is I was realizing the Patriots have not locked up their division either.
No.
Like, the Bills beat them this week. It's possible that Buffalo could still win that division. Night game this weekend is Patriots at Ravens, and the Ravens really need it. That's a huge game for both teams, because if you get it and you're New England, you're going to win the division. I think they've got another cupcake or two remaining after that. The Ravens have to win it because they do finish up with the Steelers I think that's a home game. Either way, for the Ravens, like it's must-win territory with the Steelers picking up the win last night. And Week 18, it's Ravens at Steelers. So Ravens and Patriots, I can't wait for that game on Sunday night as well.
Lots of key games to keep an eye on for this weekend. So call or text us with what you think about them. 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show. So we'll get your thoughts on the good, bad, and ugly. We'll get to your calls and texts. But up next, we will chat with Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling. Tiger Style Wrestling went to Northern Iowa, fought hard, but could not come away with the victory in their first Big 12 duel. How are they looking to rebound from that? We'll talk with Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling next here on The Big Show.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint. He's a 10. And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose. We're gonna win. Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Grab some today.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
Leland, I think Mom's been hitting the candy canes again. Yep, she said if you come into Bet's Jewelers and say you heard this out on the radio, you get $100 off. $100, no minimum. No catch, any jewelry in stock. So earrings under $100? Free. Should I tell Dad or should you? Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas from Bet's Jewelers. Beautiful moments begin at Bet's. Begin at Bet's.
You work hard, and so should your equipment. That's why at Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, we trust Kubota, and so can you. Whether it's a Kubota tractor to manage your land, a Kubota zero-turn mower for a perfect cut, or a Kubota side-by-side to handle every task, Kubota makes work easier, smoother, and more reliable. And when it's time for maintenance, our expert service team keeps your Kubota running strong, because you deserve equipment that works as hard as you do. Get the power, performance, and support you need all in one place. Visit us at 1702 Business Loop 70 East, Columbia. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your home for Kubota sales and service.
The Lee's Tire Company Holiday Survival Kit. Snacks packed, gifts wrapped, and tires that won't slide around like a plate full of holiday gravy. Better call Lee's Tire Company. Right now, buy 2 tires and get 2 free on Mastercraft and select brands. This is a massive holiday deal, so make sure you stop into Lee's Tire Company for their buy 2 tires, get 2 free on Mastercraft and select brands.
Ho, ho, ho. Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
Losing a loved one is probably the hardest punch you will ever take in the fight of life. Dealing with the fallout, finances, and how to replace that loss of income for your family is even harder. That's why Phyllis Nichols and her team are so passionate about life insurance. Phyllis Nichols is the 12th-round agent who fights for your best interests and knows exactly what you need. Get your life insurance with State Farm Agency licensed Phyllis Nichols, the 12th-round agent. Oh, look, a new idea from your same old agency. Except, isn't that what they pitched you 3 years ago? It's like they don't even care. Well, we believe relationships should evolve. At Fuse 32, we don't do autopilot. We challenge, create, and deliver. Real people, real strategies. None of that smoke and mirror stuff. If your agency's gone stale, maybe it's time to start exploring your options. Because comfort zones don't build brands. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Fuse32.com.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here. Mizzou Wrestling finished up their last competition of the calendar year of 2025. They opened up Big 12 play at Northern Iowa. Tigers fell short to UNI by a score of 22-14 on Sunday. And so now the Tigers will head into a longer break without competitions, but certainly not a break for the wrestlers as they try to get better before their next competition in early January. And here to talk Mizzou wrestling with us, Brian Smith, their head coach here on the KTGR hotline. Coach, just how'd you see your team going through that duel in Cedar Rapids? Kind of a close contest for a few different guys. How did you kind of see it playing out from your eyes?
Not our best. I felt like we got out toughed in a bunch of weight classes, and that just can't happen. So it's something we're addressing this week. But won 4 matches, lost a really tight one at 33 where we were leading the whole match. But it's frustrating that at this point in the season, we're still worrying about things like that, winning position and getting out positioned and battled for. It's as a coaching staff, this week's going to be tough on them. We're going to push them through some stuff, but we're going to get after it and get better.
Certainly. And so you talked early in that duel about 133, and it came right down to the wire with Cade Moore battling with Julian Farber. What'd you see there? And ultimately, as he falls there 9-8, what's kind of the lesson you want him to take away from it as he tries to get better the next time?
Just continuing to wrestle. He had the lead and gave up a takedown with a minute to go and didn't get out. And you have to. He wins the match if he gets out within that 40 or 50 seconds. So he'll learn from it, but it's just frustrating because he let some time go off the clock, and you have to wrestle. You have to have this way you're going to wrestle and continue to do it to be successful. If you take breaks, it's never going to work out for you in this sport, especially at this level. A team like Northern Iowa, they just don't take breaks. They wrestle very hard and intense. So that was probably, he put himself in position to win it, and then he took some breaks on bottom, and it cost him.
And as you kind of look down the list, of course, guys had some tough matchups, obviously. Pretty much everyone that you're going to face in conference play is going to be littered with a lineup that are guys in the top 20, top 30. As they get some of those harder competitions here very soon, how do you look at most of the guys and who's improving to kind of flip some of these results in their favor here eventually?
I hope all of them. I mean, we need to improve at every weight. I know Aiden Sinclair's having a great year, but there's little things that he has to get better. And that's, as a program, you get in the room, you work on those things. But I just see it that, we had a talk today about, to be really courageous. If you want to be courageous when you walk out there, you've got to put yourself through some practices and get yourself in some uncomfortable situations in the practice room to know that you can make it through it, to get out there and do those things when you get, faced with that in the real competition. And so we're putting them through more of that this week, and we'll continue with it. And we'll have the whole program going to the Soldier Salute on the 3rd and 4th of January. But, till then we'll be training really hard, and we'll give them some days off for Christmas. A lot of them will go home and train at their high schools and come back ready to go on the 26th. But this week is just focused on getting better and just wrestling with more intensity and moving forward, scoring points instead of, we were just standing around and backing up too much against Northern Iowa.
Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app, as the Tigers fall at Northern Iowa this past weekend. So you kind of talked about what's in front of the team now over the next few weeks without any actual matches to compete in. But as you kind of look back at how 2025 has gone so far for your group, obviously the first couple of months, you sometimes don't know what to expect all the way, but what have they kind of shown you as far as potential as you turn the calendar and you start to get some of these conference duels coming up very soon?
I would just sum it up in a short sentence, just we're close, but we're just falling short. That we've got to fix that. we've been in that duel came down. It was 17-14 going into heavyweight. Our last duel with Illinois went down to the wire. Our match with Minnesota went down. We've got to have some, we've got to make it where other people are stepping up and winning some of these tight matches so we can win these duels and get better as a team, start moving up in the rankings individually with those wins and as a team. And that just takes effort in the practice room, and we'll continue to work on. But overall, I see us, if this team really believes in that, which I do see that we're going to get better and better and keep improving. And by the time we hit the Big 12s, we'll have a mindset to walk on that mat to execute the game plan that's going to work best for them.
Yeah, certainly. And for wrestlers that will continue to work on their craft in the practice room, wherever they may be. And it was also good to see in this duel that you had a true freshman wrestling for you for really his first dual competition in Peyton Westphal. I know he lost his match, but just how have you seen guys like him step into some of these roles? And then for guys maybe in his position, both him and maybe the other guys in his class, what's kind of the mindset for them as they go through their first college off season, or not college off season, but just off time as they get ready to have these tougher competitions and potentially be called upon in those spots?
Well, they're all really highly recruited kids, so they get their opportunity to be in a big duel like that. I think it's great. We got a couple other guys like Bambinelli and Danny got to go in there at 74. Seth Mendoza's gotten to wrestle in a duel in some big moments. So we've had some of our freshmen get out there, and some have done okay, and a few of them have lost, but they walk off the mat knowing, man, I know where I need to be. I know I have to work at this to keep improving. So that's important. But I do see, like Cam Steed, our All-American, we've been missing him for a while here. He's healthy now. He's back in the practice room. He's ready to go. Teague Travis is in the room practicing and getting ready to go. So there's some positives that I'm really looking forward to, and getting some of these really tough people back in the lineup the second semester and seeing what type of team we're going to become.
Certainly. Brian Smith, Mizzou wrestling coach here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And again, the next competition won't be until January 3rd and 4th. They'll take part in the Soldier Salute hosted by Iowa. And again, just another one of those events where you'll probably get to involve a good amount of wrestlers in the competition. Just as you kind of size up what that competition could look like for your group, just another data point to be able to use going forward for them. How do you then attack it once you finally get to that point after these next couple weeks off?
It's a, for us, it's a 2-day tournament. So it's not like the national duels, which was a 2-day, team tournament. This is individual. So you're going to be going through like a 32-man bracket and battling round after round, probably 3-4 matches in the first day and a couple in the second day in the placing rounds. So it's good just because it simulates a little bit of the Big 12 tournament, which is 2 days. So it's important, but I can bring every guy in the program, so everybody that's healthy. So we have 30 guys in the room. We'll probably take 26, 27 guys there to compete and get matches and get experience. So it'll be a good weekend for us.
Looking forward to it. And again, it'll be a good time for Mizzou wrestling after the new year to essentially get back at it and build upon what they've done so far. But the Tigers falling short this past weekend to Northern Iowa in their final competition of 2025. Great to have Brian Smith of Mizzou Wrestling here on The Big Show to chat about it. Coach, thanks for coming on. Hope to see you again soon. And Happy New Year and happy holidays to you also.
Right back at you. Thanks, Andy.
You bet. It's The Big Show on KTGR and the KTGR app. Yeah, it's been some tough competition that Mizzou has had to deal with. It won't get all that much easier, but still some time for Mizzou to get better. And certainly with these next few weeks off heading into the holiday season, chance to, again, get in the practice room and continue working on the craft. See what that does for Mizzou wrestling, as again, their next competition will be in Iowa. They take on several teams in that tournament-style event at the Soldier Salute, January 3rd and 4th, the first weekend of 2026. Thanks for joining us today. We're ending a little bit early because we've got high school basketball coverage coming your way. Team producers tonight, it'll be Billy Jones and Ben Hermes on the call as we bring you coverage of the Hickman girls basketball team taking on Lutheran St. Charles. Tip-off for that coming up very soon. And again, a reminder tomorrow, be sure to join us all day long for our Commerce Bank 1-for-1 holiday food drive. Get all the details on our KTGR app as we help out the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri, continuing their charge to end hunger in mid-Missouri, especially during this holiday season. We hope we can count on your support tomorrow. Again, all the details on the KTGR app. We'll look forward to that tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today. He's Brendan. She's producer Natalie. I'm Andy. We're done for now. Hi, we're Midway Electric. When winter hits, electrical issues can turn serious fast, at home or at your business. That's why you need a trusted local team that shows up, solves the problem.